Hello and welcome to another wonderful Friday on Speaking for Him. I'm Dan Van Zalen, and here's your host, Andrew Gomison.
Hello, this is Andrew Gomison with the Speaking for Him podcast. I'm glad to be with you again, Dan, on this wonderful Friday, and also to have some guests with me in the studio. The Davidson family, who are good friends of mine, have decided to come in and help me with a very special movie review of Toy Story 4. Now, before I dive into the review, I just want to address something that has come out to me in the media, which is that apparently after I went and watched the film and I thought it was excellent and I came home all excited to review it, there was a mention from the American Family Association and also Focus on the Family amended their initial review to mention that I guess there was a brief scene at the kindergarten where it apparently showed two moms picking up their child. Now, I never saw the scene when I watched it, and it has been pointed out in comment sections where this article was being addressed that it could very easily be a mom and a sister in the scene. So it was not blatant. It was not in your face. And so I still think this was a good movie. I still think it's worth seeing. If that type of thing is bothersome to you, at least use it as a discussion starter. But I think there's a lot of good things in this film, and so that's the premise by which we will be reviewing it. So I just wanted to get that out of the way in the beginning, just so that you know I'm not ignoring it. And with that being said, Dan, could you give us our quote of the day?
Indeed. Being there for a child is the most noble thing a toy can do. Woody.
All right, and so this quote of the day I chose because I really thought it was a really neat thing that Woody was sharing with the newest member of the Toy Story crew, Forky, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we talk about this review. But first, Dan, can you play the movie trailer for us?
Indeed.
Everyone, Bonnie made a friend in class.
Oh, she's already making friends.
No, she literally made a new friend. I want you to meet Forky.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Ah! He's a spork.
Yes, yeah, I know. Forky is the most important toy to Bonnie right now. We all have to make sure nothing happens to him.
Woody, we have a situation.
I am not a toy. I was made for soup, salad, maybe chili, and then the trash.
Buzz, we've got to get Forky.
Affirmative.
Why am I alive? You're Bonnie's toy. You are going to help create happy memories that will last for the rest of her life.
Huh? What?
Oh, yeah. Bo? Forky, come on. Bo?
Hi there. My name is Gabby.
We can't stay.
Yes, you can. Boys. Woody, behind
Bo! What are you doing here?
No time to explain. Come with me.
We need to get back to our kid.
Aw, Sheriff Woody, always coming to the rescue.
Bonnie needs Forky.
Woody, who needs a kid's room when you can have all of this?
Wow.
Woody, aren't we going to Bonnie?
We have to find them.
What do we do, Buzz?
What would Woody do?
Jump out of a moving vehicle?
Let's go.
Hey, you gotta go.
If you should ever leave me.
You know, you've handled this lost toy life better than I could.
Open your eyes, Woody. There's plenty of kids out there. Sometimes change can be good.
You can't teach this old toy new tricks.
You'd be surprised.
Bonnie? We're going home, Forky.
God only knows.
Bonnie, I'm coming.
On my way, Woody.
To infinity and beyond.
Don't let Woody leave.
Kids lose their toys every day.
I was made to help a child. I don't remember it being this hard.
Woody, somebody's whispering in your ear. Everything's gonna be okay.
God only knows what I'd be without.
All right, and there you have the theatrical trailer for the movie Toy Story 4. And so now I'm just going to go around the table here with myself and the Davidsons. And just clarifying, Daniel, you have not seen this yet, correct?
No, I have not.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because we want to make sure to include you if you had. So I'm going to go around to the Davidsons and ask for some general thoughts of the movie. I want to say before I hand it over that one of the reasons I was so eager to see this movie is because Jen Davidson saw the movie and said it was excellent, and she was surprised how they keep coming up with great stories for the characters of Toy Story. And so I was extremely excited to go see it. And so I went largely, I mean, I was going to see it anyway, but I went largely because of her recommendation. And that's why we're here today. So why don't we start with you, Jen? What are your initial thoughts of this movie?
Thanks for having us, Andrew. We appreciate it. So yeah, we had a great time at the movie. We absolutely loved it. So initially, like I said, when I put that little post out on Facebook, I was not sure, how it was going to be. I was like, how can they do a fourth one? But they pulled it off. It was awesome. They did so much with Woody in the fourth one. They took him way far beyond, what I thought they could with him. If you compare him to the first Toy Story to this one, he's just, he's grown. He's a lot more selfless in this one, and just really, really cool. We all truly, truly, really loved it. So.
Well, I think the interesting thing about Toy Story 4 for me is that the first movie came out when I was 16, so you could argue that I was already kind of above the target audience, but I've always enjoyed animated films, so I enjoyed the first one, and then as time has passed, they keep coming out with more, and part of sometimes when they come out with sequels, it just feels like a cash grab. But one thing I've noticed about Pixar is that they're very careful in their storytelling, and I think that was the case again here. So let's get some input from some real kids who happen to be here in the studio.
Instead of childish adults.
Sarah, do you have any thoughts about Toy Story 4?
I really liked the movie. I thought it was really clever to bring Bo Peep back, and I really liked how Buzz let Woody go in the end to go with Bo Peep, and yeah.
Yeah, and I will say right now that it's pretty obvious now, but there will be spoilers because it's hard to review these movies without them. I'm one who can hear spoilers and still find great enjoyment in watching the movies, so I'm not too worried about it. But just in case you're sensitive to spoilers,
spoiler alert.
Just letting you know. But if you've listened to my reviews in the past, you should know that already. So, Johnny, any thoughts from you?
I love the movie. I really liked how at the end, Woody got to go off with Bo Peep, and I liked how I liked Forky and how he just came to life in the movie, and yeah.
All right, Nick, do you have any thoughts?
So, as you mentioned, the controversy around the film, I haven't really followed a lot of that, to be honest. And I heard a couple, hints of something like that early on before we ever saw the film, but I wasn't too worried about it. Actually, Jen kind of drugged me along to it, kind of reluctantly. But I really did enjoy it. I missed that scene entirely, so I didn't catch that either. I glanced right by it, didn't even catch it, and I really enjoyed it. I think what's amazing is as believers and as Christians, we can look at a film like this and we can see all sorts of meaning that I think an unbeliever probably would not catch. There's so much in the characters that really, again, a spoiler alert, but I think on our drive home, we were talking about all this stuff and we were having a blast just discussing, Forky, he came from the trash and all he wanted to do was to go back to the trash. Until we realized, Bonnie had written her name on the bottom of his foot and he was chosen. And that's like us with sin. We just want to go back to our trash and go back to our sin life until we really start to understand that we're chosen by God. And, it causes us to want to live for something more and live for him. And that was a huge, turning point for Forky. And that was probably the most exciting thing for me. And just seeing those things that we can tie into our faith, and that's exciting for me. I think that's what caused me to really enjoy the film.
Was there any other really positive things that stood out for you, Jen?
There was a lot, actually. I think we talked a lot about Gabby, the character of the doll, who kind of starts off in the movie, and she kind of seems like she's not a very good character. And then toward the end, you definitely see some redemption there. You see some more selfless acts from Woody that kind of turn her around. And so it really is. It's got a lot of great character just development, and you just really get to know these characters, and it was really cool. So
I will add to that is one thing. I mean, I already alluded to the fact that they're good at telling stories, but another thing that I really appreciate about Pixar, especially for a secular film studio, is how deep they go with a lot of their stories. Like, one of my all-time favorite Pixar films is The Incredibles. And I really like the scene where Violet and Dash are talking about their parents being in danger, and Dash says something like, "You mean they're going to lose their lives?" And then Violet says, "Well, kind of worse, their marriage." And I just kind of like the fact that they were emphasizing marriage in a Pixar film. And then also they made the point of saying that she made a conscious decision to step away from a career and to be a stay-at-home mom. And sitting there in a Pixar film, you don't think of it going that deep. And another one that I think of like that is Up. The first 20 minutes of Up is some of the most brilliant storytelling I've ever seen in any movie, where it's going through the old man's early life, how he meets his wife as a child, and how they get to know each other, how they date, and how they get married, and how they struggle with infertility. And I remember sitting in the movie theater for that movie and just bawling my eyes out and saying, this shouldn't be, because this is an animated movie. But this is the way that the storytellers of Pixar films are, and Toy Story 4 is no exception. I didn't really see a lot negative about this film. I mean, obviously we've talked about something in the beginning that was pointed out that you probably wouldn't see unless it's pointed out to you. And I do understand fully that is not a good thing to endorse, but I also kind of feel like the only reason that it was brought out was because somebody on staff with the film said that it was a good thing. So I try not to dwell on that. So we're just going to go right into, we've already talked a little bit about some of them, but let's just go around the room if we could and talk about some of the biggest lessons, maybe something other than the Forky lesson that Nick brought out that you see from the film.
Wow. So the Forky one was a big one for us, for sure. Her writing her name on the bottom of his foot definitely connected us with how we feel with our relationship with God. And of course, another one too is with Woody. And I know I mentioned this in the beginning, just how he's changed so much from the first Toy Story to now the fourth, and how you can see he's a lot older, and his main goal is to make sure that Bonnie is happy. His main goal is to make sure Bonnie is happy, and that even means without him. And you can see that throughout the movie. It's just, she wants Forky, and he does everything he can just to make sure that she has him. And so just that selflessness of Woody in this one is just, it really touched me personally, just to see him constantly over and over again, just kind of just give of himself and sacrifice himself and his own personal joy and that kind of thing in order just to make her happy. So for me, that was something that really stood out to me.
I think it's really interesting, too, that it really just shows how things change. You know, sometimes we're reluctant for things to change. We want things to stay the same, but the only thing that stays the same is that things don't stay the same. And as I watched my brother leave for officer training school in the Navy this past week, that was a really hard thing. It didn't even really hit me until after he left how much I'm going to miss him. And I think part of it is because he has been living away from home in Kalamazoo, Michigan, at Western Michigan University for several years. So he hasn't exactly been in our house, but it's going to be a totally different thing with him training in Newport, Rhode Island, and then going wherever else God sends him as part of his naval experience. But he's going to serve our country, and he's going to use his civil engineering degree in the process, and I'm very proud of him, even though it's difficult to watch another brother go and make that commitment because you don't know when you're going to see them next. It's not going to be as easy to just hop in the car and come over, or even texting is out for the next 10 weeks. So, you know, it's different. And, you know, our house used to be full with 13 people, and now it's got 6 people in it, so it feels empty, even though for a lot of people 6 would feel really full. For us, it's not. So one thing that stuck out to me is how life changes, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I gotta say, right up to the end, I thought that Woody was gonna go back. And then when he didn't, I was like, what is going on here? And I'm sitting in the theater, and I didn't cry. I can honestly say I didn't cry, but I was close.
I did.
I was close. So, do you have any other thoughts about the movie? Maybe something that you liked from the movie, Johnny?
As my mom said, Woody's story was really one of my favorites to me, because in the first movie, how he was the favorite toy and he was kind of selfish, but in the fourth, he changed into this completely new person, and he cared about others than himself. And I feel like that story can really tell people that bad people can change.
That is a very good point. I didn't think about that. The first movie centered on Woody being jealous of Buzz the whole time, and so that was a really good lesson. Anything from you, Sarah? Okay, well, I think we've had a pretty good discussion about this film.
Let's rate it.
Again, I'm going to recommend it. But if you were to give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, what would you rate it? Go ahead. Let's start with Nick.
I'll give it a 4. The storyline is excellent. The characters are incredible. Character development's awesome. I'll just pull that one, just as a default for the potential of having to mix our culture into it. So,
I'm going to say a 4.5. Can I do that?
Yes.
All right. What about you guys?
I'd give it a 4 as well. I just thought the characters were really funny and stuff.
5.
I'm going to give it a 4.5 for some of the reasons that we've already discussed. I thought that Forky was a great character, and you always get a little nervous when they introduce a new character into a group of old characters. How is that going to work? Is it going to be a good character, or is it going to be a throwaway? And he definitely was a good character. And incidentally, I heard that Disney's already planning to do a Forky series on their new streaming service, so they must really like Forky as well. I'm not sure if that's going to be something that is going to be top of everybody's lists to watch, because there's too many streaming services already. But
and Disney has been wrecking
just
things.
as an aside. So I think you see from this that we have some pretty high ratings, but Pixar has done it again. And as I said, don't be afraid to have frank discussions about your expectations. But I don't think that it takes away from the film as to the degree as some in the media have said. Because as I said, I was kind of totally blindsided by articles dealing with the issue that we discussed earlier, because I went through the whole film and didn't see it at all and just came out feeling very good about it. And it's kind of ironic because Toy Story 3 seemed to wrap up the franchise pretty well. And so why do you need Toy Story 4? But Toy Story 4 leaves me kind of hoping that they do Toy Story 5. I never thought I would say that, but sometime in my 50s, maybe they'll come out with Toy Story 5. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All I know is Pixar needs to keep making good quality films. So I will hope that you guys go out and see it while it's in theaters, so that they know that we want these good quality films to continue with deep storylines and great lessons. Well, that's about all I have time for today, but I hope that you will have a great weekend. And as always, keep serving the best of masters.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Your host has been Andrew Gomison, founder of Speaking for Him. For more information on today's show and to leave us comments and voicemails, visit speakingforhim.blogspot.com. You can find Andrew's ministry at speakingforhim.com. That's speaking, 4, HIM. You can also interact with us at facebook.com/speakingforhim and on Twitter @speakingforhim. And when you look for us on iTunes and Stitcher, let us know what you think of the podcast by leaving a rating and review.